All right, another pro tip coming at you. This one's creating a rolling calendar. So one thing you might have noticed is in the last lecture, we created a calendar. That was great. But the thing is, we had a very concrete set of dates. We had 2 specific years worth of data, which is fine if you're doing like a one-time ad hoc analysis. But what if you're revisiting this analysis or constantly adding new data? Things like running reports that happen on a monthly or quarterly or even weekly basis. The last thing you want to do is have to constantly be updating your calendar table, or loading up a calendar that goes way, way out into the future so that you don't have to think about it. There's a more elegant way to deal with that, and it's actually using a little custom bit of M code. Again, you can disregard this if it's not relevant to you, but if this is something that you do need, this is a really great solution. So I'm going to breeze through the 5 steps to do it. I'm going to demonstrate it really quickly in Power Query, and then we're not even going to save it. I just want to show you this just to make sure that you're aware if you do need it. So step 1, we're actually going to create something called a blank query. So we're going to use Power Query, but we're not actually going to point to a data source, not a flat file, not a database, nothing. We're going to start with a blank query editor canvas. From there, we're going to use M to enter what's called a literal, which is like stamping a specific value into its own table or list. So the screenshot you're looking at here would be a starting date of January 1st, 2013. That can be any date you choose. Now here's where it gets tricky. You're going to click the FX icon to enter a custom step, and you're going to enter this formula exactly as shown. This is a pattern that a lot of people use to do exactly what we're trying to do here, create a rolling calendar. Essentially what it does is it starts with your start date defined by the literal, and it fills in daily data until it reaches the today date based on the today function. So every time you refresh this, it's going to update based on that current date in time. So pretty cool stuff. 4th step, super simple. You just convert that list to a table. It's a click of a button, and then format as a date. And from there, you can go ahead and treat it just like we treated our date column, and add any calculated date columns like year, month, week, etc. Anything you need using those add column tools. So let's pop over to Power Query, and I'll show you really quickly what this actually looks like in the query editor environment. Okay, so I'm going to head to New Query, and instead of from file or from database, I'm going to go all the way down to from other sources, and at the very bottom of the list you'll see this blank query option. That just opens up a completely blank canvas in the query editor. So here is where I'm going to start with my literal. So equals hashtag and date. Now in this case, why don't we start at 2017 and say January 1st. So 2017, comma 1, comma 1. And when I press enter, it just stamps it onto the canvas, creates a 1-item list, and that's it. So now the next step, this is the tricky one. You enter a custom step with this FX icon, and I've actually got that whole formula on my clipboard. So I'm just going to Control V to paste it here. I don't want to type this out from scratch. If you do want to use this, either pause the video and type it in, or just message me and I'll send it your way. And when I press enter, it's pretty cool. It actually populates all of that daily level, starting with my start date or my literal, until it hits the current date. So if I scroll down, 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 I'll end up getting all the way to Friday the 13th of October, which is this very night. So it automatically knew what today's date is based on that datetime.localNow function, and it just filled in the gap with daily level data. So really the last step here is to go into this new list tools menu that popped up and just press the to table option. And I don't need any settings here. Press OK. And boom, there you go. Got a column. I can name it date. I can change the type to a date. And last but not least, you know the drill. We can't leave this table named query1. We would do something that makes a little bit more sense, like rolling underscore calendar. Thing is, I'm actually not going to save this. We're going to use the calendar that we created in the last lecture anyway, but just wanted to demonstrate exactly what this looks like. So let's X out, and I'm going to discard those changes, and we're back where we started. So pretty cool tip, creating a custom rolling calendar with Power Query.